All right, y'all, we back with another video. So today we're actually going to be talking about the character that's going to be very soon on global. Of course, as you should know by the title of the video and the thumbnail, it is Yuta, right? So let's actually get right into it. We're going to be showcasing him on the JP side since I already have him, so we can kind of get a gauge and an idea of how this character functions. So let's actually talk about what the character does and why he's so good. First up, he's obviously a mono red attacker character, so he's going to be your carry for mono red, at least until Toji comes, who's a little bit better than him because he doesn't have that drawback as Yuta does, but doesn't mean that Yuta's any worse because of that. He is still a phenomenal unit. It's just Toji is going to be a little bit higher than him in terms of usage. So we have your first skill. Your first skill is going to be Focus Your Cursed Energy, which deals 180% Taijutsu melee damage in its single target if you have that level 10. Keep in mind when I do read out these skills are going to be at level 10. Next up, we have the second skill, which is going to be Cursed Speech, which deals 135% Jujutsu damage to all enemies and decreases all enemies' crit hit resistance by 15% for 2 turns. So it's a debuff. And then, depending on how much Jujutsu you have and the enemy's remaining HP, you can instantly kill them. I do know the numbers, so I'll kind of just tell you an example. So if Yuta has 4,200 Curse Technique power, right? And then after adding the memory stats, he has like 5,000 Curse Technique, right? The enemy has 15,000 HP, and Yuta uses the curse skill, and the enemy's remaining HP is 4,900. He will insta kill it. So as long as they have less HP than his curse technique power, then he'll insta kill it. Now let's talk about his third skill. So his third skill is the most powerful skill that he has that isn't his ult that you're going to be focusing on as well. It is Let's Do This Together Rika, which deals combined damage of 137% Taijutsu and 192% of Jujutsu damage, and then 172% of Taijutsu damage and 258% of Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Keep in mind, I read these numbers twice because it's factoring in the numbers from Yuta and the numbers from Rika. Very powerful move. It clears easily. It clears a mob single-handedly, like just with that skill alone. So it's very good skill to actually invest into as well. Next up, we have the ultimate, which is going to be its Pure Love, and it deals 1,999% range Jujutsu damage to all enemies. So to kind of give you an example, this is nearly double the amount modifier that Gojo has at level 10. Literally double. So that's why he's an absolute powerhouse. On top of that, he increases his own physical and curse technique power by 20% for 4 turns. Do excuse me if I'm saying Taijutsu and Jujutsu. That's basically the physical and the curse technique power. It's just on JP, the translations are different, and I'm just used to that. And then his drawback is he's unable to fill ultimate skill gauge for 4 turns. Keep in mind, that's actually only going to be 3 turns because the actual turn that you use the ult is going to count as a turn. Next up, we have his next powerful ability in his kit, in his arsenal, which is going to be I Won't Let You Die. And it's a passive ability where at the start of each turn, if you have any allies that are below 60% HP and you have at least 10 cursed energy, he will recover 25% HP to all allies, right? Not counting himself. And on top of that, it will decrease your own cursed energy by 10, of course, because it will use your cursed energy, but that's not really too bad. It will also increase your own Taijutsu and Jujutsu, so your physical and your curse technique power, by 10%, and then it will fill your own ultimate gauge by 200. So what this means is when you're going into difficult stages and you're starting off early on and they're doing a lot of damage to your team, you will be healing and also filling your ult gauge as well when you're healing. So this will give you survivability for your team, and this will rush your ult so that way you can get rid of those pesky nuisances that are troubling you and doing tons of damage to you. Keep in mind, you can only use the heal 3 times in battle, only 3 times in total, but in most cases, that's all you really need since it's a lot of healing. 25% is not a low amount by any means. If you were to kind of put it into perspective, we do have memories that heal by 35% and they're on a cooldown of like 6 turns, 7 turns, stuff like that. And he has this and it's just 3 times per battle. You're going to be able to use it 3 times in total. A memory wouldn't be able to do it that many times, heal that many times in one single fight, but this ability will. So very powerful. One thing I do like to mention though is it does have a unique interaction with other characters who are curses, because this heal is considered a reversal technique. So if you use like a cursed character like Hanami, Jogo, or Mahito, he will do damage instead. So they will, take damage. Keep that in mind. Mekumaru will also just not recover HP from this ability because he is a puppet / robot. So he isn't factored into the heals. Now we have his next passive, which is going to be Don't Bully Yuta, which is going to be his counter mechanic. So whenever he's targeted by an enemy attack, he has a chance to deal 120% melee Jujutsu damage to the enemy, and this will cancel out any damage he receives from that attack. Now, in terms of the character, overall, very powerful indeed. One thing I do like to note is, in my opinion, if you were to go crazy for him and you do spend money on the game, I would recommend trying to get at least 2 dupes into him. If you don't spend money, try to just save your crystals over time, the universal ones, and get it through there and through those means. But having 2 dupes is really nice because obviously when you get a certain amount of dupes into a character, you also have a higher amount of curse energy that you start off with in the beginning of a fight. And having 2 dupes enables you to be able to use your skill 3, which has the highest damaging ability that isn't his ult. You'll be able to use them 2 times back to back at the start of the fight, which you can clear out waves at the beginning easily so you can take less damage. Now for priority into skill levels, naturally it's going to be his ult because his ult does the most amount of damage. This is what you're aiming for regardless in any fight. And then his next one's going to be his skill 3, which it does a ton of single target damage. Then it's going to be skill 1. The reason why I chose skill 1 over skill 2 is because you're going to be using a lot of your cursed energy for your skill 3. On top of that, your heal. So there's just not really room to actually use your skill 2. So that's going to have the lowest priority. And yeah, that's basically your skill level priorities. Now we're actually going to go into the showcase, which is the most important part of the video. All right, so we're going to be showcasing him in the furthest part of story, so practically the end game of story currently as it is. Hopefully no spoilers here. We're going to be doing the last extreme difficulty of the actual last chapter that we have currently out, at least until anniversary, where we inevitably will get more story. But right now, this is the final chapter, and of course, red is weak in this stage, so we are going to be using a red team. So this is going to be the team that we're going to be using. As you can see, we don't have anything crazy here. So we have Yaga for buffs, Nanami for buffs, Yuki for curse energy regen, and then we're going to have Panda here to actually just die because the character we're going to be using is Yuta as our backup character. Then for memories, this memory is for survivability, providing Jujutsu damage reduction for your team, and the passive where if you get below 50% HP, you'll heal for 30% HP. Then you have the memory right here, Unity, which, as you know, on global is the ult charge rate amount for 3 turns for your entire team, which is very nice because we're going to be charging up ults. Then we're going to have this memory right here, which is going to provide heals for our entire team as well. And the character that we're going to be showcasing, obviously, is Yuta. So here we're going to be using this Yuta. This is going to be a 5 dupe Yuta with a 5 dupe non-standard memory. So this is literally peak. This isn't just any Yuta, bro. This is someone who's invested, who lives for Yuta. Max skill levels, everything. So we are going to show you his absolute ceiling, right? Now, I say ceiling, but I'm saying ceiling with the characters that we have on, like, let's say for global, for example, we're going to be using these characters. Obviously, there's other characters like SSR Yaga who will be a better buffer, and Momo and all that good stuff. But right now, we are going to be using the base characters that we're using in the global version. So this is going to be the team we're going to be using. This Yuta is going to do absolutely crazy amounts of damage for having that many dupes. So let's get right into it. All right, so we're in the fight. So as you know, we are trying to get rid of this Panda. We're just going to straight off the bat just do normal attacks because right now we don't really care about buffing any of these characters at the moment. We are just going to do some normal attacks just to get through it. We're not even going to use this memory yet because we want Yuta to be out before we use that memory. Same with Yuki, we're not going to use his curse energy regen, but we are going to use Panda's taunt so that way we can get all the enemies to actually attack him and get rid of him immediately. All right, so now that we got Panda out of the way, we finally got this 5 dupe Yuta out. We are going to actually start tearing ass now. So we're going to just start buffing. We're going to non-stop buff now. We're going to be using this memory right here to provide our ult charge gate amount straight away, and then buffing. And then right here, we're going to provide curse energy regen for the entire team to make sure that we consistently be able to spam buffs. Now for Yuta, we're going to be using his skill 3 to start clearing a lot of these enemies out in one hit. I'm going to show you how much damage these skill 3s do. Look at that, 311k. So we're just gonna buff again, curse energy regen. We use another 3 on this guy. Very nice. He attacked Yuta, big counter. As you can see, half of the HP of the enemy is gone. Not bad. We'll buff again, buff again. Curse energy regen once again. Here, we're just going to use a normal skill attack because I think we should be able to kill him with just that. Very nice. We'll provide another buff. Another buff. Just normal attack here. We use our skill 3. One of them is going to die. Same thing again, just buff, buff. As you can see, Yuta's heal is coming in clutch, just keeping all our team alive. No problems there. We'll just do a normal attack. And then another 3. So we're gonna buff. Buff. Then we're gonna ult with Yuki. And then we're gonna ult with Yuta. Now, I could wait until I break him, but this is a very difficult stage, and he will start tearing through my team if I do not get rid of him immediately. So we're gonna ult. So this is gonna be the setup. We already got all the buffs that we need from everything. We got straight buffs from Yaga and Nanami from all these turns that passed. And then we also have the buff from Yuki that's about to go off straight away, which also gonna provide some extra curse technique power. So that's going to make Yuta hit even significantly harder. And then on top of that, we have Yuta with the Hollow Gojo Purple Memory, which is going to provide 85%, I believe, with dupes in it. And that's going to do a ton of damage to the enemy on top of that with the ult. So let's get right into it and see how much damage we do with Yuta. 5 million. $5 million. And as you can see, I am not going to be able to charge my ult either as well. $1 million just on the skill 3. Look at that, another 1 million on the skill 3. Now, like I said, I could try to break the boss and then use my ult to actually nuke the boss, which would definitely be significantly higher damage, but I guess I'm pretty sure I got my point across with how much damage this guy could do. Tons of damage, tons and tons of damage. Next up, we're going to be showcasing him in Domain Investigation. So here we are on Domain Investigation, very hard, and we're definitely going to be able to get good damage on these enemies. Nothing crazy, but we are going to actually be doing it on auto just to kind of, you know, prove a point with the character on how good he actually is, especially for Domain Investigation, where it's very long-term fights, and since he will always have his heals, that is very good as well. So here we are on Domain Investigation. So as you can see, my team setup consists of characters that you can use on global and memories that you should have access to, or at least close to similar to, right? So you'll have Yaga, Nanami, Yuki, and then Yuta. And then of course, Yuta will have the Hollow Purple memory, non-standard. And then the Yaga and Yuki will have 2 free-to-play memories that you can easily access by just, you know, summoning or whatever. That's the one obviously being exchangeable within the friend point exchange, and then the perfect synchronization you should be able to get relatively easily. And then obviously we have the unity memory to provide ult charge gauge amount for our team, although you just use whatever you have, right? But this is just to kind of showcase what you can do with this team. Now we're going to put this on auto and just kind of run through this. So this is the very hard difficulty of the domain investigation. So as you can see, one thing you'll notice is that auto is so much better than actual on global. So right here, I already have the buff going off for Yaga all the time. Because he provides so much heals for the team, he's so useful because remember, his heals are 3 times per fight. So every time you go to a new wave, it is a new battle, which does mean that you will have your heals again. And that means you are going to be able to breeze through the domain investigation relatively easily with this character. Definitely powerful. And obviously I'm doing this on auto and I'm using my own Yuta, who's only level 100. So he's only like 9 levels for past the actual grade that we have, which is grade 8 on global. So it's not like I have any crazy expansions from just, you know, the JP side. And we're just going straight auto throughout the entire fight. Just a level 100 Yuta with non-standard, right? Obviously, I got dupes in non-standard, but it's not like you need them. He still does plenty enough damage to actually clear through all these waves and provide enough heals for your entire team to consistently stay alive throughout each fight. And this is just some random, you know, like team. Like this is just the team that you'd probably be using on global. It's not even like one of the best teams out there on JP. Although they are all phenomenal characters. Do not get it twisted. There's just obviously better options. Also keep in mind, Yuta can Black Flash, so you can even do even more damage. Black Flash with practically any of his skills. So here we're on the 4th stage. And they're all dead. And look at that. Type disadvantage and everything. He's basically a stronger Gojo. Does double his damage on ults. Heals his entire team. Doesn't leave after 7 turns. Now, of course, he's not immune to damage, but he does have a chance to counterattack with Rika, which does provide him some survivability still. All of this on auto. So here we are on the final wave. We're going to obviously remain with the auto. So auto is a little bit better than on global. Not the craziest, but it is a little bit better, so it's not that bad. There is still some times where you would wish that they would just keep buffing. And then he will heal and then provide ult to himself. Really good. So you can debuff the guy that we're having a little bit of trouble with because he has advantage towards Yuta. And still healing his team, by the way. And there you have it. As you can see, full auto throughout the entire very hard domain investigation. A powerful character indeed. A very useful character. You will have no problem running through a lot of story events and things that are going to be coming in the future while using Yuta. Just because Toji will come in the future and he's slightly better than him does not mean that Yuta is not a good character to pull for. He is still an amazing and phenomenal unit. He is an alternative to Toji, essentially. He is not bad whatsoever. The only drawback is obviously once you ult, you cannot charge your ult again for 3 turns. It's 4 turns, but 3 turns because you use it on that turn. But other than that, he's still amazing. Doesn't have any buffing abilities aside from his ult. But if you're running buffers on your team, you're going to do tons of damage regardless. So yeah, that's Yuta Showcase, essentially showing you what he can do on JP with 5 dupes and 5 obviously dupes into the memory, and then obviously showing you what Yuta can do at just a base standpoint at level 100, the kind of standard that you'll be able to get very soon when they add a little bit more grades to global. But that's the Yuta Showcase. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.